Good evening and welcome to the evening news for today, Thursday, January 25, 2024. I am Jemima Holmes. Thank you for tuning in. In the headlines this evening, Guyana-Venezuela foreign ministers meet in Brasilia. Dangerous for citizens to believe they can just collect cash grants and no longer work, says VP JAGDEO. If you make criticisms, tell us what we could do better. EDGHILL says to opposition. Over 500 helicopter flights operated out of OGLE Airport last year. ESSEQUIBO businessman accused of rape to stand high court trial. Dr. Anthony, Dr. Cummings clash over shortage of nurses' salary increase. And scissors, knives among prohibited items confiscated at Tutorial High School. Now for the news in detail. The first meeting of the Joint Commission as envisioned by the Joint Declaration of EDGHILL for Dialogue and Peace got underway today in Brasilia. Vice President Dr. JAGDEO says even with this meeting, geared at promoting good neighborliness, Guyana remains committed to the process before the International Court of Justice. More in this report from Davina Samaru.
The Joint Commission of Foreign Ministers and technical persons from Guyana and Venezuela met on Thursday in Brazil to address matters as mutually agreed. The meeting was agreed upon and envisioned under the Joint Declaration of EDGHILL following the meeting between President of Guyana, Dr. Irfan Ali, and President of Venezuela, Nicolas Maduro, on December 14, 2023, in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Guyana's delegation is led by Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation Hugh Todd. Brazil is facilitating the meeting through its Foreign Minister, Mauro Vieira, while the United Nations and the Community of Latin American and Caribbean States, CELAC, are attending as observers. Guyana has since reinforced that it remains fully committed to the principles of the EDGHILL Declaration, particularly the maintenance of peace in the Latin American and Caribbean region. During a press conference on Thursday, Vice President Dr. JAGDEO explained that Guyana is committed to good neighborly relations, but at the same time it is pursuing the border controversy case before the International Court of Justice.
We made it clear that we are going to take this matter to its conclusion at the ICJ. And whatever that outcome, and we believe that it will be a favorable outcome for Guyana, given that Venezuela has been unable to provide a shred of evidence that the 1899 award was flawed, that the outcome should be favorable to us. But even beyond that outcome, we will still be neighbors and we'd still need to have relationships outside of the border issue.
Up to news time, there has been no report on the outcomes of the meeting in Brasilia. However, this newscast understands that a report from this joint commission will go to the presidents of Guyana and Venezuela. President Ali had expressed that topics such as trade, climate, energy, security, and initiatives to increase trade and strengthen neighborly relations are among the subjects up for discussion during the meeting. Meanwhile, President Ali has already described the meeting between Todd and his Venezuelan counterpart as a critical step toward implementing the agreements under the EDGHILL Declaration, and that it sets the stage for the second meeting between himself and Maduro. Reporting for the evening news, Davina Samaru.
Once again, we are joined by Davina Samaru, this time to report that Vice President Dr. JAGDEO has contended that it is dangerous for citizens to believe the rhetoric that Guyana is rich enough for them to no longer work, but rather just sit back at home and collect cash grants from the government. This policy, the Vice President contended, can leave the country bankrupt in just 1 year.
Vice President Dr. JAGDEO, during his press conference on Thursday, again went into details on how borrowing to finance capital expenditure will not harm Guyana's economy.
We're not borrowing to eat. Most of our recurrent budget is self-finance. That is from revenue. If you look at our recurrent budget, the capital budget, we borrow mainly for capital expenditure. And anyone who knows, if you have a business, you borrow to invest in the future, for future income. And all of these investments that we are making will enhance our capacity to have greater income in the future as a country, more revenue, so we can get wealthier. We don't have an unsustainable borrowing strategy. So there is absolutely no contradiction. The contradiction is only in the mind of somebody who doesn't understand that you have to invest for the future too.
It is against this backdrop that he argued the dangers of the position taken by some that citizens can no longer work but instead stay home and collect cash grants.
If you look at the revenue flow to the budget, if we were to do what they suggested, either the opposition or Glenn Lal, in a single year we'll bankrupt the country. We'll bankrupt the country based on giving $8 million to every single person in this country. Some people made it seem, like Ramjatan, that we just recently in a speech said, we have all this money to do whatever we want to, and when they get into office, they'll give it all out to people. Glenn Lal has been saying to people, we're so rich because of the oil and gas resources. We don't need to work any longer. We can all get $8 million handout from the Treasury, and we don't need to work any longer. And I think this is extremely dangerous. That is why we had to point this out, that it creates a syndrome of dependency.
The vice president said over time, the resources in the oil and gas sector will accumulate at a magnitude where the country would, in a growing way, address more needs of the population.
But we will never come to a point in our history when the citizens of this country will just sit down at home and receive a check and have to stop working. Not a single country in the world has gotten to that stage or will ever get to that stage. And so it is only a charlatan, a clown, who will promote that sort of philosophy, that you can stop working and the state will get enough money to mind everybody.
Public Works Minister Juan EDGHILL on Thursday blasted the APNU AFC opposition for continuously criticizing efforts and projects undertaken by the PPPC government to enhance the lives of citizens and transform the country without bringing anything constructive to the table. Vanu Manichand has the details.
This APNU AFC government is like an abusive husband. So we hear all day, I had plans, I had plans, I had plans, I had plans, I had plans. It's reprogram, it's reprogram, it's reprogram. I don't buy a bigger one, it's rethink your tech, it's rethink your tech. You had the opportunity to treat the Guyanese people well, and you did not. You blew it. So don't come here now as if you are the epitome of righteousness to lecture us on this other side about how we run the country. If you make criticisms, tell us what we could do better.
That was Public Works Minister Juan EDGHILL during his presentation on Day 4 of the ongoing parliamentary debates on the $1.146 trillion budget 2024, which he says will benefit all categories of the Guyanese population. In responding to the opposition criticism that the budget is heavy on infrastructure, the minister argued that these projects are not only aimed at improving lives now and in the future, but it is also less costly to build out the country now rather than later.
We have current opportunities that exist because of the global environment, because of what is happening in Guyana, because of the reality that we're now engaging in petroleum, but we're utilizing that opportunity to secure the future prosperity of Guyana. That's a statement of fact. Whatever we're doing, it's not just about now. We are securing the future prosperity of Guyana. In the Ministry of Public Works, where there seems to be a very aggressive attack that the budget is heavy on infrastructure. Our total capital budget is $225 billion. The total budget of the ministry is $236 billion. My honorable friend and colleague, the Minister of Culture, Youth and Sport, Mr. Charles Rumson, when he debated, said, please explain to us which project you want us to drop. Region 10, the roads. Do you want the Wisma Bridge or you don't want it? You can't say you support the bridge and you want supporting the budget and you don't want the bridge. Because we have gotten a better deal. 35 million for 4 lanes is against your 30 million for 2 lanes. Do you want us to continue the road from Oriaya to Kokwani? Do you want us to continue the opening up of the savannas for soya and corn with the road from Aikshuni all the way to Takama? Do you want us to build a road from Millie's Hideout getting into Takama? Do you want it or you don't want it? If you want it, support Budget 2024. I rest my case in saying we must not come to the Parliament and just oppose for opposing sake. You should come here and scrutinize and say we want the government to do these things, but we want them to do it better. We guarantee you, with the bold scholarship and the training that we're doing and the exposure of our people, we will continue to deliver with efficiency and give the Guyanese people value for money.
Reporting for the Evening News, Fanu Manikchand.
Still on budget debates, we are now joined by Trishelle Sobers, who reports that Dr. Vindhya Prasad stated that the $48.3 billion set aside in this year's budget for her ministry will play a pivotal role in ensuring senior citizens, persons living with disabilities, women and girls have the opportunities that weren't available during the coalition's tenure in office.
Dr. Prasad was at the time responding to concerns raised by opposition parliamentarian Natasha Singh Lewis while highlighting plans to revamp the Palms Geriatric Home in Georgetown and the new $172 million elderly care facility in Enmore, East Coast, Demerara. This new facility will be located some distance away from the existing one. Dr. Prasad explained that occupants of the Palms in Georgetown would be moved to the Edmore home when rehabilitation commences on that facility. The Palms was established in 1876 and provides 24-hour nursing care and other services to elderly citizens. Following this announcement, she said the opposition's vile and vicious attacks towards the fiscal package for her ministry show their disregard for the lives of the vulnerable.
Much of the budget revolves around senior citizens, and I'm happy that the honorable member before me spoke at length about the 1800-year-old Palms, the Palms facility that was in the 1800s. And I would like to say that this government has allotted $172 million for a spanking new senior citizens home because we are concerned about the senior citizens across this country. The pensioners over the tenure of the PPPC would have benefited from a 75% increase on their pension, and that is much more than what was given in 5 years of the tenure of my colleagues over the other side. The pensioners not only benefit from an increase to their pension, but they also are benefiting from the improvement to how they receive their pension. There's so many alternatives. Pension can be deposited in the bank. Pension is deposited in the bank.
Additionally, a wellness and well-being program will be developed for pensioners so they can remain active and access nutritional advice, among other forms of assistance. Outside of support ventures for elderly citizens, Dr. Prasad made it clear that several other projects are being supported by the $1.146 trillion budget. This includes the much-needed rehabilitation of the Sophia Children's Facility into a model residential facility for children with disabilities. Further, the minister disclosed that $37 million was set aside for the Mahaika Girls' Home to be rehabilitated, while $53 million will pave the way for the construction of a juvenile justice center.
Mr. Speaker, I want to say that the government of Guyana and the Ministry of Human Services will continue to commit to the delivery and the expansion of programs, initiatives that will improve the quality of life of the people of Guyana, building on what we would already have achieved and moving towards the prosperity that we speak of.
The budget debate is expected to wrap up on Friday. Trishelle Sobers, Evening News.
Coming up on the other side of the break, GCCI looking to expose membership to opportunities from trade missions. Over 500 helicopter flights operated out of OGLE Airport last year, and Dr. Cummings clash over shortage of nurses, salary increase. Please stay tuned.
Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready to kick off the new year with a bang? DigiCell has an offer that'll make your January extra special. Imagine winning up to $1 million in free groceries in DigiCell's $6 million groceries extravaganza. Simply top up with $1,000 or more, and you can be one of 6 lucky winners to enjoy the ultimate shopping spree worth $6 million. What are you waiting for? Start topping up today. DigiCell, the network for everyone, everywhere.
Looking to bring your dream home to reality? Or simply taking on a home improvement project? Then National Hardware Limited is where you should start. Let us put that touch to your home. Choose from over 1,000 Berger Paint original hues for any surface. We are known for our trusted brands such as Westinghouse, Philips, Sadco, Rubbermaid, Pyrex, Gibson Home, and so much more. National Hardware Limited, your do-it-best store. Located in downtown Georgetown and industrial site Rhymeville.
Welcome back. You're watching the Evening News. As the local aviation industry continues to rapidly expand, so does the subsector of helicopter operations, with over 500 flights recorded at the Eugene F. Correa International Airport. Director General of the Guyana Civil Aviation Authority, Lieutenant Colonel Retired Egbert Field, says this is a stark difference from just a few years ago when that figure stood at just around 50 flights. Navina Samaru has the details in this report.
Speaking during the first anniversary anniversary celebration of Omni Helicopter Guyana Inc. on Wednesday evening, Director General of the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority, Egbert Field, reflected on the tremendous growth of the local aviation sector since he assumed the role in 2016. He even zoned in specifically on helicopter operations in Guyana.
In the days when I arrived, there were just about 2 or 3 helicopters, Bell 206 helicopters, flying around. Today, look at the type of helicopters which are flying within Guyana. And soon, we'll have them being captained and flown and serviced by Guyanese. And that is a welcoming achievement.
Specifically, he said there were 539 helicopter flight operations last year at the Eugene F. Correa International Airport. Just last year, at his ministry's end-of-year press conference, Minister of Public Works Juan EDGHILL revealed that Guyana's aviation industry did not only see an increase in international airlines operations, but also in the number of aircraft operating in the country, particularly by local operators. In this regard, he had disclosed that airworthiness certificates were approved for several new aircraft in Guyana, 4 being granted last year, 3 of which were for helicopters. Portugal-headquartered Omni Helicopters Inc. had partnered with Roraima Airways to create a Guyanese helicopter company to meet oil and gas standards. Primarily, the company provides services to ExxonMobil Guyana's offshore operations. The company had its first flight in Guyana on January 1, 2023, and since then had transported more than 50,000 passengers. Moreover, to date, some 50 Guyanese nationals have been hired. Director of Omni Helicopter Guyana Inc., Jerry Gavaya Jr., said the company aims to become a center of excellence for the region. Moreover, he emphasized that the company is committed not just to operating in Guyana, but investing in the country and its people, to always create opportunities within the aviation industry for Guyanese.
We as a company are not only dedicated to providing our clients a very efficient, reliable, and safe service, but we're also dedicated to bettering Guyana as a country. We are committed to working with the government, working with the people of Guyana to make sure that we become a center of excellence for the region and that we develop opportunities and we develop the local Guyanese capabilities so that we can grow in the aviation and energy sectors. Over the last year, we've dedicated to working on offering internships, both paid and unpaid, for engineering students here at the Art Williams Engineering School right here at OGLE. We're dedicated to working with all of these students to promote their on-the-job training, as well as offering employment opportunities in the very near future. We're dedicated to working with the Guyanese to offer opportunities in operations dispatch, aviation security, and most recently, search and rescue.
Let's now tell you that Hemchand Takram, also called Coolie Boy 60, a businessman of LaBelle Alliance, ESSEQUIBO Coast, Region 2, was on Wednesday charged with rape. He is accused of committing the act on a child between September 1 and 30, 2022 in ESSEQUIBO. The case was heard at the Anna Regina Magistrates Court before Magistrate Esther Sam, during which a paper committal was held. As such, Magistrate Sam ruled that based on the statements and exhibits tendered before the court, there is enough evidence for Takram to stand a high court trial for the offense. He was, however, granted bail in the sum of $500,000. Day 4 of the 2024 budget debates got underway on Thursday with a fiery exchange between Health Minister Dr. Frank Anthony and his shadow Dr. Karen Cummings. The two politicians clashed on several issues ranging from the shortage of nurses at primary health care facilities to the need to increase salaries for the nursing staff. Here is Trishelle Sobers with this report.
During her budget presentation to the National Assembly, Dr. Cummings commended the government for constructing new hospitals and healthcare facilities across the country, but, however, noted that citizens will not have access to healthcare if the facilities are not adequately staffed. Referencing the news publications on the shortage of nurses within the country, the opposition parliamentarian reminded that the Georgetown Public Hospital Corporation has a deficit of about 600 nurses. With this in mind, she questioned the effectiveness of the facility and others to come on stream in 2024, noting that if local nurses continue to take up overseas employment opportunities, then the country will not achieve its goal of providing, quote, world-class health care to all citizens, end quote. On that point, Dr. Cummings added that hiring foreign nurses to quell the problem is not acceptable and suggested that the government explore better wages for nursing staff as a means of keeping them.
We know that Guyana has been going through a personnel crisis with nurses and doctors leaving in droves, failing to acknowledge the root cause of this crisis, which is a need for competitive wages. The government has imprudently announced 6 new hospital projects.
In response, Health Minister Dr. Frank Anthony explained that government is currently training nurses through its professional nursing hybrid and nursing assistance programs. Additionally, he noted that the shortage of healthcare providers is a global issue, and in this regard, the recruitment of Cuban nurses is necessary.
Last year, we started a program where we have 1,200 persons who are right now doing nursing. This year, we are taking in another 1,200. Next year, we are taking another 1,200. The year after that, we are taking another 1,200. And we will employ every single one of them. Under APNU AFC, from 2016 to 2020, the percentage change for a staff nurse was 35%. Under this government, from 2020 to 2023, the percentage change in their salary was 71%. For a staff nurse midwife, your change for the 5 years, 15%. And this government gave them 91% more on their salary.
The Health Ministry will receive its largest budgetary provision of $129.8 billion this year. When approved, this amount will play a crucial role in upgrading and constructing healthcare facilities, expanding diagnostic care and treatment services, procuring medicines and medical supplies, as well as expanding tertiary education for health practitioners. Trishelle Sobers, Evening News.
Contracts have been awarded for the construction of bridges to access the land on which the Guyana Technical Training College will be erected. In this Andrew Carmichael report, you will hear that although construction is yet to commence, the director of the educational institution is optimistic that the project will be completed by the end of 2025.
Guyana Technical Training College campus will be constructed on a 20-acre plot of land at Port Moran, Quarantine, Berbice. The $100 million project is being funded through a loan from the Caribbean Development Bank, CDB, with support from the government of Guyana and ExxonMobil. The land where the campus will be constructed is currently being used to cultivate sugarcane. The director of the campus, Professor Clement Sankat, stated that the campus upon completion will comprise of accommodation for trainers and about 150 out-of-town students.
We are going to drive to make it happen. We're going to work very hard to make that happen. You have to plan very well to make things happen, within time and within budget. So that is the work that is happening there now.
ExxonMobil is, however, playing its part to ensure that the project site can be accessed.
We are attempting to start the work on the sugarcane lands, the infrastructure, and Exxon has just given a contract to work on the bridges to the land, because to get to the land, sugarcane, you got to get bridges. 2 bridges are going to be built. We're going to build a road, because there's a dam right now that ISEQUIBO uses. We're going to convert that to a first-rate road. Then the lands have to be filled. You have to build the retaining walls, fill the lands, etc., before the buildings start to rise. We have completed the design of that first phase, the bridges, the roads, and the retaining walls. All of that is done. Contract has been awarded to make that happen.
Further, the professor added that when completed, the campus will offer courses in the oil and gas field.
Is in addition to those 4 diplomas, the government of Guyana, with the support of Exxon, has agreed that we will also be building and putting in place a diploma in building and construction. There's a boom in construction in Guyana, as you all know, and getting technicians to support the construction that is happening here is vital. Because while you need engineers, for every one engineer who's a professional engineer, you need probably 5 or 6 technicians to start with. So we're going to start a technician training as soon as these facilities are finished next year, and they will also earn a 2-year diploma in building and construction.
Professor Sankat told Evening News that it will be a first-class engineering school, one which offers not only academics but includes theory.
I've spent my whole life in engineering education. Different from what I've done before, but bearing in mind the experiences I have had about producing graduates for the world of work, who are ready for the world of work. So we're going to have 5 diploma programs, all hopefully internationally accredited and certified.
For the Evening News, Andrew Carmichael.
Several prohibited items were found and confiscated by authorities during a scheduled search at the Tutorial High School, Wolford Avenue, Georgetown on Thursday. The search was facilitated by the Department of Education Schools Welfare Unit, Georgetown, to ensure that learners do not have prohibited items. The search was conducted between 9 hours 45 and 12 hours in several classrooms and students' bags, during which the prohibited items were found, confiscated, and handed over to the head teacher. And now for a look at the bridge reports.
The Demerara Harbour Bridge will be closed to vehicular traffic on Friday, January 26, 2024 at 4 hours for 1.5 hours. Meanwhile, the Berbice River Bridge is expected to be closed at 5 hours on Friday, January 26, 2024, also for 1.5 hours.
January 28th horse racing meet cancelled. This and more coming up in the Sportcast, sponsored by MacCorp.
Wash Bay operators, are you looking for that unique service to elevate your business? Well, come on down to your #1 industrial store, Sylvie's, and invest in an undercarriage pressure washer tool. That's right, impress your customers by now washing under their vehicles easy and efficiently with an undercarriage tool. We have in stock different types that offer a wider range of services and can increase your revenue without having to invest in expensive ramps. Your customers are going to leave satisfied. So what are you waiting for? If you can't make it to our 31 High and Hatfield Streets location, we can deliver in and around Georgetown. Give us a call on 227-6226 or WhatsApp us on 623-7755 or visit our website sylviesonline.com. Sylvie's Industrial Solution, proudly serving Guyana for over 4 decades.
Superbet, your best bet. Put your skills to the test and beat the dealer with virtual blackjack. Choose wisely without going over the goal of 21. The best possible hand wins. Visit www.superbet.gy to try your luck. Must be 18 years and older. Terms and conditions apply. Play responsibly.
Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready to kick off the new year with a bang? DigiCell has an offer that'll make your January extra special. Imagine winning up to $1 million in free groceries in DigiCell's $6 million groceries extravaganza. Simply top up with $1,000 or more, and you can be one of 6 lucky winners to enjoy the ultimate shopping spree worth $6 million. What are you waiting for? Start topping up today.